The Tower of London, for nearly 1,000 years, it has stood as the ultimate symbol of royal power and terrifying imprisonment. In the 11th century, it was the most formidable structure in England. Its walls were 15 feet thick. Its guards were the king's most loyal soldiers. It was designed to be a place from which absolutely no one could ever return. But every fortress has a flaw, and every lock has a key. In the year 1101, history witnessed something that the world thought was impossible. A man didn't just escape a prison. He escaped the tower. He didn't use a shovel. He didn't have a map. He didn't have an army. All he had was a gallon of wine, a hidden rope, and the sheer audacity to outsmart a king. Today, on FirstoGraphy, we are uncovering the genesis of the Great Escape. This is the story of Ranulf Flambard, the man who taught the world that no wall is high enough to keep a clever mind inside. To understand the first prison break, you have to understand the prisoner. Ranulf Flambard wasn't a common thief or a violent rebel. He was a bishop. But he wasn't just any man of the cloth. He was the chief minister to King William II, William Rufus. Flambard was the most hated man in England. Why? Because he was a financial genius. He was the architect of the king's tax system, squeezing every penny out of the nobility and the church alike. He was clever, he was arrogant, and he was incredibly wealthy. But in 1100 AD, his protector, King William Rufus, was killed in a mysterious hunting accident. The new king, Henry I, needed a scapegoat to win the people's favor. He chose Flambard. On August 15, 1100, Ranulf Flambard became the first prisoner ever held in the newly completed White Tower of London. The king thought he had neutralized his enemy. He gave Flambard a comfortable cell, allowed him to have servants, and even permitted him to order fine food and wine. It was a golden cage, but King Henry made one fatal mistake. He underestimated the bishop's appetite for freedom. Flambard spent 6 months in the tower. To the guards, he seemed like a defeated man who had accepted his fate. He spent his days hosting lavish dinners for his captors. He would buy the best wine in London and share it freely with the men tasked with watching him. The guards loved him. He was their best friend. He was the man who kept the wine flowing, but Flambard was playing a long game. Every dinner, every joke, and every toast was designed to lower their guard. In February 1101, a specific shipment of wine arrived. To the guards, it was just another barrel of French vintage. But hidden inside that barrel, coiled tightly at the bottom beneath a false wooden divider, was a long, thin, silk rope. This is the moment where the prison break genre was truly born. Flambard wasn't just waiting for an opportunity, he was creating one. He knew that, on the night of February 2nd, the Feast of Candlemas, the guards would be expecting a celebration. He invited them all to his quarters for a feast they would never forget. The feast was legendary. Flambard made sure the wine was even stronger than usual. As the hours passed, one by one, the guards succumbed to the alcohol. By midnight, the most secure prison in the world was guarded by a dozen men passed out on the floor. Flambard retrieved the rope from the barrel. He climbed up to the window of the White Tower 65 feet above the ground. For a 40-year-old man who lived a life of luxury, this was a terrifying physical challenge. He tied the rope to the window's stone mullion. But there was a problem. In his rush, or perhaps due to a miscalculation by his outside conspirators, the rope was too short. It didn't reach the ground. Imagine the scene. A bishop, clutching his robes, sliding down a silk rope in the middle of a freezing February night. When he reached the end of the rope, he realized he was still nearly 20 feet from the ground. He had two choices: climb back up and face the executioner's block in the morning, or jump. He jumped. He hit the ground hard, lightly bruising his legs and scraping his hands to the bone on the rough stone walls. But he was down. He was outside the White Tower. Waiting in the shadows of the outer wall were his loyal servants with fast horses. They didn't head for the countryside, they headed for the coast. By the time the guards woke up with pounding headaches the next morning, Flambard was already on a ship crossing the English Channel toward Normandy. The news sent shockwaves through the kingdom. The unbreakable tower had been breached from the inside. King Henry was humiliated. He had lost his most valuable prisoner and his most important political leverage. But what happened to Flambard? Unlike many who follow in his footsteps in history, Ranulf Flambard actually won. In Normandy, he became an advisor to Duke Robert, the king's brother. Years later, through a series of political maneuvers and treaties, he was actually pardoned. He returned to England and spent the rest of his life as the Bishop of Durham, where he completed the construction of the magnificent Durham Cathedral, a building that still stands today. Ranulf Flambard wasn't just the first man to escape the Tower of London. He was the man who proved that the concept of a perfect prison is a myth. His escape set the blueprint for every great escape that followed: the infiltration of tools, the psychological manipulation of guards, and the exploitation of a single moment of human weakness. From the first pandemic to the first computer virus, history is defined by the moments where humans broke the rules. Ranulf Flambard broke the ultimate rule. He walked through a wall of stone. What do you think? Was Flambard a genius hero or a corrupt criminal who got away with it? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to explore more Genesis stories from the first human clone to the first reality show, make sure to hit that subscribe button for FirstoGraphy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next chapter of history.